What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Sydney Roosters Diehards. Welcome back to another episode of the Sydney Roosters Diehards News Roundup. Hope everyone has a fantastic weekend so far. The Australia Day long weekend. Hope everyone has had a fantastic weekend so far. Obviously, halfway through the long weekend, and I thought I'd just come on here and deliver the Roosters' latest news and opinions for the last couple of days or so. So we've got a few things to come across over the next couple of minutes or so. We've just got some quotes from the current Australian coach, Kevin Walters, around Angus Crichton's deflection to rugby union in 2027. We've also got some stats around Daniel Tupou and may potentially be his final season for the Sydney Roosters and a few other bits and pieces. So I hope you guys enjoy. Thank you for tuning into the latest episode of the Chook Chat podcast with myself and Lummy from Tricolour TV. Link is in the show notes if you want to go check that out, and also the donation GoFundMe page for the referee who's going through a tough battle at the moment. That will also be in the description in the show notes as well if you want to donate for a great cause there. And also the charity match tickets, myself, Leaguey, Retro, and a few other Roosters content creators and your favourite NRL content creators will be doing battle in a rugby league charity match to raise funds for the Mark Hughes Foundation and the Goanna Academy, hosted by the Sports Shed TV boys. So go check that out. Obviously, we had Norman on here as well. So he's co-hosting the event. So it's going to be a great cause. Link is in the show notes if you want to go get your tickets, and we'll see you at Ringrose Park on the 22nd of February. Right, let's get straight into the news. I just wanted to go on here and start off with the quote from Kevin Walters, who was asked by on his podcast with Ben Dobbin, and also he's interviewed by Channel 9 after the announcement of Angus Crichton heading over the rugby union in 2027. He was asked whether or not this will impact Angus Crichton's selection for the Australian World Cup squad for the Rugby League World Cup, which is the end of this year. And Kevin Walters come out and said that won't be impacting him at all. If he's available and his form is warranted for selection, he will be in the team. And it's the same thing with Marky Mark this year with the Wallabies, last year, I should say. And the same thing with Suoliti when he was when he got picked for New South Wales. I don't think where he's going next season shouldn't be an issue, shouldn't be a problem. It should not matter, in my opinion. It should apply for New South Wales as well. I'm not sure. I don't think Laurie Daly would not pick Angus Crichton just because he's not going to be here next year. If he's in form, if he's the best back row in the competition, which he has been the last couple of seasons, he'd be picked. Same thing that Kevin Walters as well. Same thing with Marky Mark this year, especially if Zach Lomax doesn't get this situation solved between him, Parramatta, and the Melbourne Storm. You know, we're going to need a winger for New South Wales, and Marky Mark will definitely have his hand up and being the incumbent Australian winger. He should be in the team as well. Look, you know, I've said this for probably now 3 years in a row with Suoliti, with Manu, with now Marky Mark last year for the World Cup, for the Ashes Tour, and the same thing now with Angus Crichton when he's going to rugby. Like, I don't think it should not matter where he's going to be next season. And as far as I'm concerned, Marky Mark, Angus Crichton this season, they're Roosters players. And I don't treat them any different. They're going to another sport next year. That's good for them. They've secured their future. They're going to put in 110% for the Roosters this season, and then they go off into the sunset and do what they want to do beyond next year. That's totally up to them, and I support them no matter what. But that doesn't, should not apply at rep level either as well. Like, they are Roosters players, and they will be Roosters players till they're no longer in Roosters HQ, which was in November 1 this year, and it should apply for the Blues and it should apply for Australian selection. It should not matter. You pick your best team on paper. You don't pick on, he's not going to be here next year, blah, blah, blah. It's the best team that's available for selection and best team that's in form. So I'm glad that Kevin Walters has come and had his say on it. Obviously, there's a lot of footy to be played between now and late October, when the World Cup arrives. So there's obviously a lot of footy to be played. But, as far as I'm concerned, and the same thing with Kevin Walters here, that Kevin Walters has come out and made his stance clear that Angus Crichton, if he's fit for selection and is in form and his form is warranted the selection for the Australian World Cup squad for the 2026 Rugby League World Cup, he will be there. The same thing with Marky Mark. So I've got to applaud Kevin Walters here, give him the credit that he's not going to be – obviously there's going to be a lot of talking points close to Origin time, and same thing for the World Cup time, that, is Angus Crichton's selection in doubt because of where he's going to be next year. I don't think that should apply. I think he'll be in the New South Wales squad come Origin time in May, And the same thing will apply for the Rugby League World Cup because he's the best back rower that Australia have alongside Liam Martin and Hudson Young. So I think he'll be there. So doesn't matter where he's going to be next year. He's a Rooster. He's eligible to play for New South Wales. He's eligible to play for Australia. He should be playing for Australia. And how cool would that be too if he wins 2 World Cups in different sports in 2 years? That'd be something that you could never see before. Like someone, Rando, if you're watching, someone tell me the last time a player in sport has won 2 separate World Cups in 2 different years. So could you imagine Marky Mark and Angus Crichton wins a Rugby League World Cup for Australia, then the next year wins a Rugby World Cup for Australia in 2027? That'd be pretty cool. And something would be really cool in your resume. And we almost got that. And, it could have been really cool in 2024 when Marky Mark was going for an Olympic medal, then involved in a Roosters side of the NRL that was hunting for a premiership. That'd be pretty cool. Obviously, that didn't happen, but it'd be pretty cool, to win back-to-back World Cups in 2 different sports. That'd be pretty cool to have. And really, look, really praise Kevin Walters here for sticking up and having his say on it, and the way he's approached it. Like it should not matter, and he said it's not going to matter. So obviously time will tell, but as far as I'm concerned and as far as Kevin Walters is concerned, Angus Crichton, obviously depending on injury and if he's fit and if he's in form, he will be at that on the home World Cup, especially at home too, my ad, that he will be a part of the World Cup squad for Australia come the end of the year. So well done to Kevin Walters. I just wanted to touch on this one finally before we wrap things up. Obviously, it wasn't going to be on here too much longer. We got 2 players from the Roosters that are eligible to be part of the 300 club this season. Obviously, that's founded there by Rando. Shout out to the Ram Stats guy. I'll be actually going up against him in the charity match on February 22nd. If you haven't got your tickets already, please do. Link is in the show notes. But so Rando has put out 5 players that will reach the 300 club in 2026. So obviously the first one to be eligible is our boy Daniel Tupou. Daniel Tupou is currently on 289 first grade games. He is 11 games short of the 300 club milestone, which is in round 13. If obviously with the 2 buys in that time, I believe. So he's got 11 games in round 13. He will be eligible, or not eligible, but he'll reach the 300 game milestone. And also James Tedesco in round 27, if he plays every single game, 24 games, for the Roosters this season. Obviously, injury and origin selection could be a problem. But if he does play every game like he had done with us last season, he would reach 300 game milestone in round 27. So that's pretty cool. Then hopefully this year that we see James Tedesco reach, and Daniel Tupou. Daniel Tupou most likely, but James Tedesco could also reach the 300 plus milestone. He's needs 24 more games to play. So I believe, or my maths is correct, just off the top of my head, I think he's on 276 first grade games. So he can reach the 300 club milestone as well this year. So that'd be a pretty cool achievement. That obviously Tedesco, not for the one club, played for the West Tigers between 2013 and 2017. So that's obviously a little bit different. But Daniel Tupou, one club player, which also going to be interesting. Obviously, we spoke a little bit about it with Lummy on the Chalk Chat podcast on Wednesday about Daniel Tupou. Off air, we we're just talking about Daniel Tupou, and this stat come across. It's actually going off the top of my head. Daniel Tupou could also pass Jared Hargreaves' record for the most capped Roosters player of all time of 311 in round 24 this year against the Dolphins, I believe. So that'd be pretty cool. Like, I was thinking about it just off air, like maybe last year sometime, about Daniel Tupou. If there was like Jared Hargreaves' record, like, is there anyone in this current squad that will get close to getting the Jared Hargreaves after Daniel Tupou? I don't necessarily think so. But then you think, Daniel Tupou, you reckon he can get there? Obviously, it is still undecided where Daniel Tupou is going to be beyond this year. Obviously, I think he's 33, 34. He's off contract. He can speak to rival clubs as of right now. So, look, I don't think Daniel Tupou is going to leave the Roosters to go to another NRL club. It might be the Super League. Could be retirement. But got me thinking about Daniel Tupou. If this is his final season, we could see him, like a Jared Hargreaves, play 300 games for the Roosters, NRL games / the Roosters for one club, and break Jared Hargreaves' record of the most Roosters games of all time, which I think he needs to play 22 games this year. So that would be a really, really cool achievement if he'd be able to do so. I think it's either round 24 against the Dolphins or round 25 against the Tigers that he could. They're both at Allianz, and we could see Daniel Tupou break that record. Jared Reed-Hargreaves being the most capped Roosters player of all time is a significant achievement, and we love Jared. And no one better to break Orbo's record of 307 to be the most capped Roosters player on 310. But he did play a couple games at Manly, which is a downer, but it'd be cool with a club like ours within the space of maybe 12 years, we'd have multiple players break that most capped Roosters player of all time. So you go all about over the last couple of years or so. I remember 2002, 2003, Luke Ricketson passed, I can't remember who it was, but he was the most capped Roosters player of all time at that stage around, I think it was like 275 was the record at that time, and he passed that and retired in 2005 with 301 games. And then it took, obviously, another 9 years for Anthony Minicello to break that on 302. And then 6 years later, we got Mitchell Orbison, who became the most capped Roosters player of all time, passing Minicello, and retired on 307. And then flashback another 4 years later, and then in 2024, we saw Jared Reed-Hargreaves pass Orbo to be the most capped Roosters player of all time at 307. And he's now up to 310 before he retired. And then 2 years later, we got another one. The final player left standing in that 2013 grand final squad, Daniel Tupou, passes Jared Reed-Hargreaves as a one-club player to become the most capped Roosters player of all time this year. That'd be absolutely awesome to see. And then not only that, he's also, in contention to reach 200 plus tries this year. Obviously, I still think Alex Johnson's going to break the record first because he's 2 games away. I don't think Tupou ever catches Alex Johnson because he just doesn't have. He's got more age on him. Alex Johnson's got more years ahead of him in the NRL than Daniel Tupou, I believe. But if it is Daniel Tupou's final season, obviously we could see. Tupou break the most capped Roosters player of all time and also reach the 200 club. He's currently on 183 tries. He needs 17 tries this season to get to the 200. Might be a bit of but he did get to 20 this year. So it's definitely doable. So let's see. Let's see how he goes. Obviously, it all depends on Daniel Tupou whether or not where he goes next year. It all depends on him. It all depends on how his body's feeling. And he's at the peak of his powers right now. He's been just Mr. Consistent for so long. And obviously last year, he was incredible for us, and hopefully he's got another year or two in him. And if he does extend next year, then he has the opportunity to get the 200 confirmed and then gets another 10 to get past Ken Irvine on 210. Or 212, whatever the record he holds there. So that'd be absolutely insane that in this generation, as a Roosters fan, that we get to see a winger be the most capped Roosters player of all time and have either second or third on the all-time top try scorers list and be the third player in history to get to the 200. That'd be incredible swan song for Tupou this season, if maybe not next year. So, but look, it all depends on him, eh? Like, obviously, the Roosters will be willing to keep him for another season, or as long as he wants. But it's just up to him. And obviously, I don't think Tupou will make a decision now. It just all depends on how his body's feeling throughout the season. And he might say, he might put his hand up and say, "I've had enough." But or he goes around for another season. Obviously, that's a wait and see. But selfishly, and obviously, Daniel Tupou is a player that isn't all about accolades, all about team performance. But as a fan. And as fans, we're selfish and we're like, no, let's see him get to 300. Let's see him get to 311, the most capped Roosters player of all time. And let's get him the 200 club and let's get him past Ken Irvine. That'd be the perfect way to send Daniel Tupou into retirement in the next year or two. That's the dream. That's the goal as Roosters fans. And there'll be no better player deserving than Daniel Tupou. Just saying. I think you look at the Roosters' top most capped players in our history over the last couple, the top 5. What a way for players to pass a legend in itself. So, Rico was the record holder for 9 years when he did it in 2002 or 2003, whenever it was. And then you get to Minicello, a club legend, one of the greatest of all time in 2014, past Rico. And then you get Orbo, the past Minicello. What a player to do so. And then yet Jared Hargreaves passes Mitchell Orbison. That's just insane. And yet now we're in a year where Daniel Tupou could pass Jared Hargreaves. Like it's just mind blowing. And for me as a Roosters fan that I was born in 2002, and within 24 years, I've seen 5 different players potentially be the most capped Roosters player of all time, like the change in regard kind of thing. That's just wild. You don't really see this a lot, especially considering a club like ours when we've been established for 117 years. 118 years this year, and we've had over 1,100 players represent this club. And yet, within my lifetime, in the first 24 years of my life, I've seen 5 different players potentially break the most capped Roosters player record of all time. That's insane. So. We've also got a feel-good story to talk about here. Scott Dyson, the brave officer who was shot during the Bondi, a police officer who was shot during the Bondi terror attack, was today honoured for his bravery, receiving a Roosters jersey signed by the squad and being gifted season tickets for the Sydney Roosters home games this season. That's in class act by the club, and yeah, just so great how good our community is. Especially going through a tough run with this whole tragic events that happened last year. Just great to see how, the club has definitely made an effort to, be a part of this community. Obviously, we ran obviously the club did a preseason session on Bondi Beach during the week. I think it was on Tuesday, and obviously had a little bit of a fan thing afterwards. And then obviously, honoring, Scott Dyson, who was obviously a police officer, doing his duty that day, was injured in the line of duty. So obviously the club, showing, their love and support towards him, and, the efforts that in the bravery that he showed that day is just incredible to see. And obviously this season, the Roosters, the last couple of seasons, we've done emergency services round. Obviously we honoured Inspector Amy Scott, who was a part of the Bondi Junction stabbing event, or whatever what's the best way to say it? The Bondi Junction stabbings that day. We honoured her at Allianz for the emergency services round. This year, I think we did something towards the Fireys for the emergency services round. And when we do our emergency services round this season, I'm sure that Scott Dyson and the first responders that were involved in the Bondi terror attacks on Bondi Beach, they'll be honoured, and they'll show the respect, love, and support, and that they deserve for their bravery come that day. I don't know when that round that is. I'm sure the Roosters will be continuing to do so for the next couple of seasons, but whenever that round arrives, they'll definitely be front and center and be the main attraction. So great to see that Scott is recovering well. Still got a lot to obviously still got a lot of recovery to go, but just wanted to just touch on that just to wrap things up. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoy. Obviously that wasn't a lot of news, but that was more a bit of an opinions video there. So just thought we wanted to end on that. So thanks for watching, guys. 16 minutes. Wow, went on for the 10 minutes for that section there. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the Sydney Roosters Diehards. Give us a follow on the Instagram page as well for your latest Roosters news, updates, and opinions. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you in the next one. Until then, goodbye for now, and up the Roosters, baby!